Okay, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh, and today I think I'm gonna talk a little bit about how I got to where I am now with being in grad school. So, since I posted the first video, things have felt good. I wasn't exactly sure how I was gonna feel after kind of posting that video and talking about some of the things that I kind of got into. But I feel good. Um, so I'm glad that I did it, and we're here. So last video I talked, a lot about just kind of some of the things that I'd gone through in life and some aspects of how I've gotten here now. And I really just want to talk about what has led up to me being in grad school. Um, so I'm a second year student at the University of South Carolina. I'm studying counseling and rehabilitation. And if you aren't exactly sure what that would necessarily look like, that would basically be like a therapist in the professional world. Um, or, I guess the official titling in South Carolina would be a licensed professional counselor. Um, but growing up, my relationship with school through my childhood and through my youth and even my young adulthood was rough. Um, I was never good at school. I don't think it was from a place of just not being like intelligent enough. I just think there was things going on in my life at a young age that distracted me from the importance of paying attention in school. And I also think that because of some of the ways that I was raised, it was difficult for me to approach school in an open mind. I was kind of taught as a kid from my dad that children don't really have a voice. They are, meant to be seen and not heard. And until you are 18, you really don't get a say. And for whatever reason, for me, that really kind of like triggered something in me that felt the need to speak out for myself, even at a really young age. And I think that that caused a lot of issues, especially growing up in, the late 90s and the early 2000s when, you know, kids weren't really seen as equals to a degree. So for me, in my youth, in elementary school, middle school, high school just wasn't for me. I got my high school diploma. I graduated, and as I've mentioned, I've gone on and gotten my bachelor's degree. But the formidable years of my youth was really difficult. And I think even graduating high school, I might have had like a 2.4 GPA. And in that time, the outlook on life was that you needed a degree to be successful in life. So really everything as a kid was based upon going to a 4-year school at minimum, a 2-year school and getting an associate's degree, but really aspiring to go to a 4-year school, um, and getting a respectful degree that could provide you a good opportunity in life. And for me, kind of having a disorganized life at home, my parents were divorced. Um, I had a lot of relationship issues with my father. I ran away from home all the time. We had communication issues throughout my childhood. I think it really distracted me from being able to focus on school. And then on top of that, I just kind of had this approach to schooling that um, if I didn't find it important, I didn't see the need to understand it. Um, and I look back to when I was like in middle school, and this was probably like sixth grade. Our middle school was considered sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. Elementary school was first through fifth, middle school was sixth through eighth, and then high school was ninth through 12th grade. And this was in Maryland. And I think it was around like sixth grade, going into middle school. At the time, didn't think of it like this, but I had extreme anxiety. And I don't, I think now that I'm going through my graduate school program, it's giving me a better understanding of what I was going through as a child. But I would wake up probably for the better part of a year, through middle school. I wake up almost every morning and go to the bathroom and you know relieve myself, but at the same time I would be throwing up because I was so nervous about going to school, and it was a real problem. I was missing classes. My dad was ironically enough, he was a teacher at a different county at a high school, and he didn't understand this stuff. So for him, I think it was really difficult to kind of like empathize with his son. His mentality was like, you just go. And we were able to work through some things. We basically got on a schedule where my mom would come and pick me up at like 4:30, 5 a.m. before she would go to work. And we would go sit in the parking lot of the school for like an hour and a half, 2 hours before school even started, just to like regulate my body. And then I would go into school and meet with the guidance counselor. God bless this man. His name was Mr. Butts. This dude was like 6'5", but the most compassionate individual ever. And I would just get to chill with him. And that would allow me to kind of go through the day. And once school started, I was fine. But then the next morning it would repeat. And it was just really bad. I remember waking up, and a lot of times there was like symptoms, it felt like, of like a fever, where my eyes would kind of be like flashing in the morning, like, almost like your brain is overheating. And I could only eat light meals. I would have like carrots in the morning. I couldn't keep anything down. I was just so tense. I was so anxious, and it was miserable. It really affected my development at that age, and obviously my academics. And I feel for that kid then, because now I have a better understanding, and I definitely believe that my home dynamic was really kind of at the forefront of this problem. That it was showing up in an academic way, but there was something about me leaving the home and not having that parental figure or something that really jarred me. And obviously, like, my mom suffers from anxiety, like severe anxiety, and there's anxiety in our family, but I've never been the type of person who likes to fall directly back on family genetic issues. To issues probably isn't the right word, but like genetic makeup. you know it 100% plays a role, and I'm not denying that anymore, but I've never liked to lean on that as like, well, my family has a history of it, therefore this is just who I am and there's nothing I can do. So obviously, I we figured it out. I went to some behavioral therapy, and I remember doing these like mood charts every morning. And my mom or dad would say, how are you feeling this morning? And I'd circle a smiley face if I felt good, or an anxious face. And it was really rough. So that kind of, I guess I say all that to lay the foundation that, for me, growing up even in a safe town and a good school district at a really good school, I struggled a lot. And there was really no one I could go to. Obviously, as a young boy, like, you're not going to go to your friends and talk about it. It was embarrassing. I had no rapport relationship with many girls at that age. I was very self-conscious of my appearance and like dating and being affectionate towards girls at that age. And I think that to some degree is normal. I'm just trying to say that I think so much of what children, including myself, go through and what they're displaying outwardly is often a reflection of what's going on at home. And I think that that's a really overlooked aspect of child development. But we're not going to get into that entirely. We're here to talk about school. So, fast forwarding up till now, I got out of the military. I ended up going to a 4-year school and getting a degree in information technology, and I love tech. I like playing video games. It was something I grew up on. I like learning about tech, but IT as a profession is completely different than technology as like a hobby. They can go together, and oftentimes the really good professionals kind of treat their hobby as a professional lifestyle as well. But that wasn't me. I really look back and I knew it at the time, but I was kind of deflective of it. Was I was in it for the money. I was living in DC, that area, that Northern Virginia area, and the money was really good, and I was going for a security clearance, and I was working for some departments and DOD and Department of State, and I didn't do it for a long time. I only did it for a few years, but I was really in it for the money, and there was no satisfaction though. Even though I was making really good money, I hated going to work. I really didn't enjoy the people I worked with. They didn't think like me. They were, you know, not all IT people are like this, but a lot of IT people are very kind of introverted. Um, you give them a task and they do that task, but a lot of them don't have really like the social skills, excuse me, that sometimes you need to interact with the people within your workplace. And that's just a part of it. It's not the reason why I got out of IT. I got out of IT because I wasn't cut out for it anymore, to be frank. I wasn't doing the work I needed to do. There was no passion there, but I wasn't trying to study and stay up on stuff. I got some certifications, but beyond that, I had no drive. And then moving to Charleston, my mental health and some of the things that I talked about in the last video really just devastated my life and the ecosystem around it. And that's what brings us to grad school. So when I was coming out of my mental health hole, if you can say that, when I was becoming a little more enlightened and I felt more relief in life, I knew I needed to do something. A lot of my days were basically, for almost like a year, it was just recovery. It was trying to manage suicidal ideations, depression, anxiety, navigating the VA disability process, navigating my mental health, navigating my marriage, my relationships with people. I kind of explain it like this to people, like the identity of myself before my mental health collapse was completely stripped naked. Like I had to reinvent myself as a person. And that's a really traumatizing, for me at least, it was a very traumatizing experience. Like when you're that close to wanting to die, or when you are that close to death, it really fucks a person up. And even looking back on that experience, it's hard to imagine someone like myself, just knowing who I am as a human. It's hard to believe that I went through that, because so much of my life was spent believing sometimes that people who were depressed or were anxious or suicidal were somewhat weak in a way. And I never thought that that could happen to me. So when it did happen to me, it was a punch to the fucking face. And to be honest, it was necessary. The way that I was living before was so unhealthy and so unproductive. It wasn't real to who I was. So it was an unfortunate necessary evil that had to happen to me to kind of go through that journey. And I'm so grateful to be here on the other side of it. I've learned so much more about gratitude and empathy for others and for myself. And because of that, I realized that I couldn't spend the rest of my life just sitting in an apartment or sitting in the house. Like, I needed to do something. I was trying to rediscover hobbies and I wasn't having any hobbies. And I decided to look back at school again. And, one of the things that I grew up being told, and I credit this to my stepmother a lot, is I want to say it was when I got out of the military and I was living at home with them for a few months. There was a moment where she had told me that she always thought that I would be really good at being a therapist. And she was a nurse, and she had worked in some like child behavioral centers before where it's really like inpatient, outpatient, but some of the children that come in there are just really going through some serious issues, or they have some really significant mental health issues that they're trying to work through. And it's a pretty intensive area. And she doesn't do that work anymore, but I think to some degree, maybe she had an eye for what she saw. And I think deep down, one of the things that I think geared me towards this route of study and then going into the future of this profession is like, I've always enjoyed listening to people. I've always enjoyed talking, and this isn't the right word, but it's kind of the best way. It's basically like kind of like coaching people, but more so like giving them introspection into their own life from a third party perspective. The problem is that I'm not really a third party to these people. I'm a friend, or they know me somehow, or we're talking casually in conversation, but for whatever reason, the way that I spoke to these people, or the insight I gave them, hit differently than other people they had spoke to. And I kind of knew that in myself, but I ignored it. I think I ignored it for so long because I envisioned this route of study to be extremely academic. And I was scared of that, probably because of my experiences through my youth with academics. So I had always kind of denied it. And I really didn't know the difference between the mental health professions. And, I think it's a problem in our country is a lot of the terms are used interchangeably, and that's fine. The ultimate goal is that these individuals are there to help people with their mental health. But I was really confused. I started looking into certain programs, and I started doing research, and I realized that, if I went the psychology route, that was really going to require a doctorate level to really be able to do any type of like formidable work with patients. And I really just don't envision myself going the doctorate level, at least right now. I never said I would go for a master's, but here I am. The psychiatry route is, that on a medicinal level, a medicine side of things. And that really didn't interest me much. And then I was able to find some programs that revolved around, counseling. And I really always thought counseling was just kind of a catch-all term for psychologists. So I really didn't do a ton of research into different programs, but living in South Carolina, I knew that I wanted to be in state, for tuition reasons and using VA benefits. And I'm not too far away from the University of South Carolina Columbia campus, which is about an hour and a half away from me. And they happen to have an online hybrid counseling and rehabilitation program. And I was like, damn, this is perfect, right? If there are certain classes or times that I need to go up to campus, I can, but for the most part, it seems like it's entirely hybrid. And the one thing I was worried about was sort of me not having any type of mental health background as far as from a bachelor's perspective, but the program didn't require that. So, I had submitted my undergraduate transcripts, and one of the other things they required was just two um like professional letters, from like character statements essentially, and then a letter of intent, like a personal letter. So I was able to get uh two letters from people, which was pretty easy. They were some individuals who had kind of helped me along my journey through mental health and kind of my rebirth. um and I never read those letters. I didn't ask to. I didn't see them. And then I wrote my own personal letter, and it was raw. There was spelling errors, there was grammatical errors. I talked about how I wanted to kill myself at one point. I talked about what I had gone through, what I thought this program could be, and what aspects I could contribute to the field from my lived experiences. And I really didn't think too much of it. And then, I didn't approach it from a place of like, I need to take this seriously. Like I think a lot of graduate applicants do, where they're writing these very polished letters. I just kind of threw that shit at a wall. And it was honestly the only school that I had applied to. It was the only program I had applied to. And maybe within like a day or two, I got a email back, and they requested a formal interview with me, virtually. And I was anxious for it. You don't really know what to expect, but I said, fuck it. So I did it. And, I met with the faculty members. It's a small faculty group. It's about 4 or 5 professors. And it was really kind of laid back and open. They really just wanted to know who I was and what kind of my motivation was. And obviously they had read my letter, and they knew some of my experience, and that was it. The video call was about 20-25 minutes. They asked me some questions, I asked them some questions, and it was over. They said, you'll hear back from us, within a week. And maybe a day or two later, I had gotten an email accepting me into the program. And that fall, so this would have been fall of 24, I was at my orientation, to go into the counseling and rehabilitation program. And at that point, I don't think I still really exactly knew what the program entailed. I just knew I needed to start doing something and then kind of figure it out there. I just knew that this was a profession I wanted to go into, and this was kind of the waters I was testing to kind of to do that. And it's been incredible. And I think that this is kind of the part where, if you've thought about going to grad school as an older adult and you're really unsure of yourself, I think this is where I would highly encourage you to just do it. Obviously my program may differ from other graduate programs. It was really difficult for me at first because I was still working through a lot of emotional things. And one of the things that I've learned in the program is that there's the faculty jokes about this, but there's 2 people who go to grad school. There's people who, at least in this program, there's people who are just genuinely interested in mental health. They're curious. They have somewhat of a working passion for mental health. And then there's people who have been through a life-altering experience that is orienting them towards this. And I fall in the latter of that. I've always had an interest in mental health, but not to the degree of just wanting to casually do it as a profession. It took me going through something life-altering, nearly to the point of death, that I want to give back and help people manage their lives and get to a place that they can cope by themselves. And even in the program, they tell us like you're not here to help people, and that's right. Like my goal is to facilitate growth within individuals. And it was really difficult for the first year because so much of the program I was expecting to be very academically rigorous, and it wasn't. Like there was really no tests. We wrote a lot of papers, there was a lot of assignments, but what I've come to learn about this program is that it's not an academic program in the sense that they're there to fail or pass you on grades. This is a professional and a personal development program where they're trying to build professionals and skill sets to work with people. And that's like super important. And I think for me, that was really difficult to understand. And for a while, I was like, this program's a fucking joke, man. Like they're not even giving us tests. Like I don't even really have to read out of the book sometimes. Now in year 2, things have stepped up a little bit. So it's gotten a little more intense. The tests are all open book and stuff like that, but the workload is much more intense. The material you go over is very emotionally jarring for certain people, me being one of them. But the experience as a whole has been incredibly rewarding. um I came from a place where my mindset and my thinking was very rigid, similar to my father's, and it's forced me in a way to confront things about myself from an outlook and a mindset perspective, but also emotionally. And that's been the biggest benefit factor is like, I kind of came into the program thinking like I'll get an education out of this and eventually a certification that can allow me to make money and work. But I never honestly thought that I would grow personally from this to the lengths that I have. And I think for me that was a really scary thing because I was scared of big universities. That's one of the reasons why I went to a smaller private school in Northern Virginia for my bachelor's degree. Is it was more comfortable. Like the classrooms were smaller, max 25 people. I had envisioned these big programs as really intimidating, but I've learned that it's not. Like our classes are still small. It's a graduate school, so obviously that differs from undergrad, but I don't feel intimidated. I feel a part of something. I feel like I belong here. The relationships I've built with other people and with the faculty are incredibly intimate. Um, and they tell you that. They tell you that in order for you to maximize your growth within this program, you have to become vulnerable with other people because in order for me at least to be able to absorb this information in a healthy manner, like I have to be able to reflect and be honest with myself, with other people about how I feel about things. And that was really difficult for me because, this program is like 97% women. That's the profession. Oftentimes in classes, sometimes I'm the only guy in the class. Max, there's 4 of us. And on top of that, I come from a military, police, conservative background of thinking that is contrary to many people in the program, which is much more like a liberal, loose leaning perspective. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it's honestly allowed me to become more middle ground with things. And it's forced me to have difficult conversations with people about topics that we just look differently at, you know? Um, but it's been a beautiful thing. It really has. And I'm super excited for what the future of this program has for me. I'm in year 2 now, and Um, within the next year, I'm going to be starting practicum and internships and really kind of getting my hands on with individuals. I'm nervous, I'm scared, but I feel confident and prepared, to whatever degree that means right now. So I guess to kind of just pull all of this together, what I'm hoping to express is that one, like, I want to be vulnerable with you all. And I hope in turn that maybe my vulnerability allows you to become somewhat more vulnerable and maybe take that path that looks a little uncomfortable. If the circumstances are right, maybe that takes a little longer, but have that conversation with yourself. Hey, what would that look like if, in the fall I decided to try this thing that I've been thinking about doing for years and I've never talked about with anyone? Like, hey, can I afford this? Would I have to take some loans out? What would it mean to my mental health to do this? Whatever your profession is or whatever you're interested in, maybe you just need to kind of give yourself that push and give it a try. Just give it a try, see what happens. Um, so yeah. So, you know, I hope that I don't know. I hope that brings maybe some light, maybe some relief. I enjoy doing this, So yeah. So I'm gonna try this. I don't really know how it works, but if you like this video, if you like the conversations that I'm having with you, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. Um, and I'll see you next time. See you.